This is the second part of our lecture, and now we'll start with web fonts, and after that we'll go to media responsive web pages. So web fonts, let me open this one. Save and open new. Now, so for example, if I have here some text, text. That's right, this is text. We apply font by using body, for example, to all page, and we say font family, like we know Verdana, for example. Verdana. This is Verdana. We may heard about different fonts. So we know Tahoma and etc. So this is a specific site by Google Fonts. Okay. So this actually contains many different fonts, and you can use them. For example, categories, language. For example, we will use for Cyrillic, but also there is Cyrillic extended. I don't remember if they have Kazakh letters, because sometimes it doesn't have any Kazakh letters, so it will be a problem. And you can use Latin, for example. Font properties, number of styles. What does it mean? So there are different fonts and different styles. So for example, you can choose handwriting here. So something like this, and you have these different styles with different boldness. Like if you want this one and this one, this is all letters that are present. And also, for example, popular pairing. So also sometimes they use similar fonts. So if you want to use these fonts, you can do it by using dancing script, download family. Okay, okay, this is okay. So you select it by this one. And you write embed, then I have to write something like this, and here in web page it will look like this one. Lessons. So I write here, so in web page you will write it like this one. Okay, you select this one, and we have HTML. And for example, if you want to use in body, you write it like this, body, and you will write it font family, dancing script, cursive. So what does this mean? This means that it will, by using this link, it will download this font from the page, Fonts Google APIs, and then you can use it as style sheet, and then here you write style, body, font family, dancing script, and what we will have, open the page. Okay, what has happened? Oh, okay, we don't have text here. text, some text, some text. So you see, you can use it as some shrift, some text, some cursive. So this is done by using this link tag, and in style you write font family. So also we must consider this thing, fallback fonts. So fallback fonts, what does it mean? Fallback means that if someone it is for, it means that if, for example, Работа or this font, dancing script, it may, for example, it could not be downloaded on this page. Why? Because, for example, you don't have internet, or this web page has been broken down and you cannot access this font, or there may be some problems with downloading these fonts. So by comma you write this one, cursive. For example, the one font, Tahoma is not available on Linux because it's created by Windows, and you cannot use it in Linux. And for example, you make website and you check it on Windows and you write Tahoma, and it will not work on Linux. You will see there something different. So because of this, it has like this one. If dancing script is not available, you select some other script like cursive. So let me show what does cursive mean, and what are the others, fallback fonts. So for example, let's write it here. If let's 8 class cursive. In many cases, also, for example, on different devices there may be some limitations, and for example, but there are 4 fonts which are available on every device. One of them is cursive. I write, for example, font family. Cursive. So this is the default cursive. It is available on all computers, so it will be always shown. Also, let me show other serif. Serif is this one, and let me show you sans serif. Okay, let's write here sans. Okay, sans and font family, sans serif. The difference is that, do you see the difference? Difference is that it has, in Russian we call it засечка. Every text, every letter has its like glyphs. It's every letter has its things. Like in Word you see this R. It is like it has some point. In this one it doesn't have. And one more, let's call it mono. Font family mono space, and let's hit right here. And what is the mono? In monospace 3 font, all letters take same amount of space. So it is used in, for example, coding, and it's in many cases. So because it's like you can find width of the any text by its only width of the shrift. So for example, in this one you see the L. L takes only place which is it's needed, but in monospace L takes the same place as W. All of these fonts, they have different okay, it says 6 generic font names. It's serif with glyphs. Glyphs has finishing strokes, so it's засечка. Sans serif without stroke endings. Monospace, all glyphs has the same fixed width. And cursive is like handwritten. Fantasy, primarily decorative fonts and system UI serif, UI rounded math. So this is I actually didn't see to use these ones, and emoji I didn't use them. UI means that there is system UI. It means that, for example, Windows default, in Windows you have default font, like in like this one. For example, this is font by Ubuntu. I don't know its name, but it's systems font, so you can use it. And fonts are important. Why important? Because different fonts are applicable for different purposes. Like the big texts, they may be written in some font, and the text for reading they will be on with other fonts. So, for example, if you're reading very small material, it will be some font. You will use some font. If you read some other material, like if you read some very short text, and this text must gain attention, they will be different written by different fonts. So also to gain more usability, to gain more attraction, to gain more users satisfying, you should use fonts very wisely. But of course, to front-end programmers or back-end programmers, fonts are not like they don't think about fonts. Mostly it's thought up by designers who select fonts or etc. But you also be, for example, if you are doing websites, you should always consider to make this like fallback fonts. Verdana, if you don't have Verdana, you write serif. Or for example, you see here different examples like Franklin Gothic Medium. If there is no Franklin Gothic Medium, use Arial Narrow. If it's no Arial Narrow, use Arial, and etc. Here you see the many like Segoy UI, Tahoma, Geneva, Verdana Sans Serif. So it says that if there is Segoy UI, use it. If there is no Segoy UI, use Tahoma. If it doesn't have Tahoma, use Geneva and Verdana and Sans Serif. So this sans serif will be on all computers, and you will at least know that it will work with, it will show sans serif at least. It will not show monospace or something like this. So this part about was fonts. Also, if you are doing projects, sometimes there are like some fonts that are available on the internet. You download it and use it, for example, but it can be a problem. For example, your relative wanted you to do website, and that website was and you used some font found on the internet, and that might be the problem. Why? Because this font, it has some patent and has authorship rights. Some company created this web font, and they can find that you use their font on the website, and they can sue. They can go to court, suit, and for example, by the end of this court, you can be fined for some money. Why? Because they reserve the rights for the font. So be uh, attentive to these kind of problems. For example, if you don't want this kind of problems, use Google Fonts. Google Fonts, it says that it gives you ability to use their fonts, so they are mostly, I think, they are free. Or if you can buy, you can buy it on special sites where they sold this. So using these fonts is like a solution for this kind of problems. So also you see here, as I said before, there are 5 different fonts like serif, sans serif, handwriting, monospace. Monospace, as is told, it all letters take same space in handwriting, for example. And also here display. Display means that it's mostly used for things that are like very important points on the web page. So like the main topic or something like this, you can use display. But it's mostly not useful for things where you use it for big amount of text, because this text is not readable for a long time. And mobile web. Mobile web, so this is the example. It has website, and you have these elements. This is how it looks like on the some page. And when you open it with mobile phone, there is some problem, pretty small and hard to read. So it's not very useful to person to read this page from the web or from the mobile, because the text is very small, and you will have to do what? You will have to zoom it. You will have to zoom to read it. Actually, if you are going to read it, you will have to zoom. So you are forcing your user to do extra actions. We want to do responsive web design. Responsive web design means that we want to write our CSS in a way that can look nice in a wide reach of screen. So I want 27 desktop monitors, so big monitors for gamers, etc. You want them to open up properly. For MacBook Air, for Samsung Galaxy S7, iPhone 7, iPad. So any device which you want, it should open properly. It should be useful and look nice in all of this one. So it means that they may not look same, because useful means that they will not be same. So something which is very useful on 27 desktop monitor is not useful on iPhone. Unless directed otherwise via HTML or CSS queues, mobile browsers render web pages at desktop screen. So let me open this one. I will do it like this. So in browser we have here we have special button, toggle device. So I can change it. For example, I can change it Galaxy S5. So this is how it looks like on the Galaxy S5. So the text is very small, as you see. Why? Because it tries to it sets the desktop screen width, so it also will be shown like this on the mobile, and it will put default screen width to 1000 pixels, and it will be like shrink. It will try to fit the default screen width. But for example, I want to do something like this. I want to say that I don't need to shrink it. Just show me the thing that the width of element. So To prevent browsers from rendering the page at desktop width and zooming out, use the meta viewport tag name. What does mean? I use this one in head. This go down and write it here. What does it mean? It says that meta name viewport should contain width divides width. So device width is the width of your page, of your not page but device, screen, monitor, etc. So it will not zoom. It will stay same as it is on the device. I refresh it. So you see now that text is seen as it must be seen. It doesn't zoom. And now what we do? So this is the same things like we showed you before. It is without meta tag, and this is with the meta tag, and it's more readable. And okay, this is explanation. Initial scale started the zoom level of 100%, so it will not zoom out. You should pretty much always include this tag, making adjustments. So it says that, for example, in this case, there is some problem. In our we don't have problem, but in this case we have problems. So, for example, it says that okay, we have like let us. So now they say that in this page it has padding or margin for, and for some it worked nice on the web page, like it had some padding, margins, etc. But in the phone it looks not good. Why? Because there is some extra spaces. In monitor it's normal to have extra spaces, but in phone it's not, because it is already small and you should fill all the places. Like there should not be empty spaces, because it makes fit less material than we want. So what we can do, we can use this kind of things like media max width 500 pixels, article margin. So what does it mean? You can define a CSS media query in order to change style rules based on characteristics of the device. So for example, I want to show you something like different, like let's say media something like this, and I say it okay, let's make it paragraph. Let's say background color yellow. And I press this one. So it becomes yellow. Let me show, it's like this, so I can change it. If it is more than 500 pixels, it is normal, but it doesn't have applied styles. But when it is less than 500, it becomes yellow. So like in this case, article margin should be 0 to pixels, so there will be no margin.